The 688 was part of the Women's Army Corps during World War II. 855 women, an all-African-American unit sent to England to sort through a 2-year backlog of mail for the troops. They came here in 1945 and did 2 weeks of training before their trip overseas. There's a documentary about the 688.
In the documentary, one of the members of the 688 says it all started in Fort Oglethorpe. So this was actually the first place the unit was all together as one for overseas training.
Their primary job during the war was to sort through a backlog of mail. And just before they were sent to Europe, the 688 Central Postal Detachment had their overseas training in Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia.
17 million pieces of mail had not been delivered to the soldiers in over a year and a half, 2 years' time. And so their job was to get that mail sorted and in the hands of the soldiers.
The work that these women did during the war and other African-American service members did led to the military being desegregated in 1948 by President Truman.
So the 6888 Central Postal Directory Battalion, is kind of a mouthful, was the only Black Women's Army Corps unit to serve overseas during World War II. They were given this really difficult mission of clearing a 2-year backlog of mail. It was 17 million pieces, and they were given 6 months to do it, and they actually did it in half the time. And they were fighting for a triple victory. Not only were they trying to win World War II and be part of the war effort, but they were also fighting the sexism and the racism of the 1940s. So they were on 3 fronts. But what
I just got chills. You describing these things.
I talk about it.
Yeah.
But our connection is Fort Oglethorpe, as the site of the 3rd WAC Training Center, was the first location. These women all came together as one unit. So we were where their mission started. They came here for 2 weeks of overseas training and then left for England from here. But just the fact that these women were facing the intersectionality of racism and sexism and putting all of that behind them enough that they were able to clear those 17 million pieces of mail in half the time. I mean, they were really set up to fail with what they were given. No one expected them to rise to the challenge. And not only did they rise to the challenge, they beat everybody's expectations. So it's great that we're finally getting them the recognition they need. Congress just approved them for a Congressional Gold Medal, finally. So it was too long, but I'm glad we're finally here.